You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. As Roland Martin Unfiltered. By going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com, you can make this possible. Keep talking about the appointment of judges. Keep talking about what they're doing and how they are appointing judges. And Matthew Peterson is a commissioner of the Federal Elections Commission, and he resigned, leaving a shortage on that particular commission. And the reason I'm saying that is because, again, what you have here is you have folks who, this was a guy who Trump wanted to put on the federal bench, who is so idiotic, he could not even answer some most basic legal questions. And people need to understand exactly what it is these folks are doing. And they are putting incompetent people in places, over departments. You forget just Carson at HUD and DeVos at Education. I mean, you can go Commerce. You can go USDA. You can go every single department. I mean, you know it's bad when one of the smartest people who's been a cabinet member is Rick Perry. I mean, and one of the smartest in this administration is Rick Perry. And look, Rick Perry, Texas A&M Aggie, former governor of Texas, and Rick a great guy, okay? But ain't the brightest bulb in a dark room, okay? And that's what you're dealing with. In fact, I saw this today, and I remember when it aired, and I said, you know what, I just got to play this. Just so y'all understand what they're trying to do to this country. I pulled the video up of when Peterson was being questioned by a Republican from Louisiana. These are the kind of people they want running the country. Hit play.
You can just raise your hand on this one, if you will, to save a little time. Have any of you not tried a case to verdict in a courtroom? Mr. Peterson. Have you ever tried a jury trial?
I have not.
Civil?
No.
Criminal?
No.
Bench?
No.
State or federal court?
I have not.
Okay. Have you ever taken a deposition?
I was involved in taking depositions when I was associate at Wiley Ryan when I first came out of law school. But that was.
Have you ever? How many depositions?
I would. I'd be struggling to remember.
Less than 10?
Yes.
Less than 5?
Probably somewhere in that range.
Have you ever tried taking a deposition by yourself?
I believe no.
Okay. Have you ever argued a motion in state court?
I have not.
Have you ever argued a motion in federal court?
No.
When's the last time you read the federal rules of civil procedure?
The federal rules of civil procedure, I have, in my current position, I obviously don't need to stay as, invested in those on a day-to-day basis, but I do try to keep up to speed. We do have, at the Federal Election Commission, roughly 70 attorneys who work under our guidance, including a large litigation division. And as a commissioner, we oversee that litigation. We advise them on overall legal strategy, provide recommendations and edits to briefs and so forth, and meet with them about how we're going to handle it.
If I could ask you this,
Sure.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we're only given 5 minutes for 5 of you. So
Sure.
When's the last time you read the federal rules of evidence?
The federal rules of evidence all the way through would, comprehensively would have been in law school. Obviously, I have been involved in, when I was an associate, that was something that we had to stay closely abreast of. And there have been some issues dealing with evidentiary issues that
Sure.
will cause me to examine those periodically in our oversight role of the litigation division at the Federal Election Commission.
Okay. Well, as a trial judge, you're obviously going to have witnesses.
Yes.
Can you tell me what the Doe-Bear standard is?
Senator Kennedy, I don't have that readily at my disposal. But I would be happy to take a closer look at that.
Okay.
That is not something that I've had to contend with.
Do you know what a motion in limine is?
Yes, I haven't. Again, my background is not in litigation as when I was replying to Chairman Grassley. I haven't had to, again, do a deep dive, and I understand, and I appreciate this line of questioning. I understand the challenge that would be ahead of me if I were fortunate enough to become a district court judge. I understand that that the path that many successful district court judges have taken has been a different one than I have taken. Mm-hmm. But as I mentioned in my earlier answer, I believe that the path that I have taken to be one who's been in a decision-making role on, I would guess now, somewhere between 1,500 and 2,000 enforcement matters, overseeing I don't know how many cases in federal court.
Yes.
The commission has been a party to during my time.
Yes, sir. I've read your resume. Just for the record, do you know what a motion in limine is?
I would probably not be able to give you a good definition right here at the table.
Do you know what the younger abstention doctrine is?
I've heard of it, but again,
how about the Pullman abstention doctrine?
I heard.
You'll all see that a lot in federal court. Okay. Any of you?
Come back. Now, why did I play that? First of all, that took place a number of months ago. Peterson withdrew his name from consideration. But just so y'all understand, the White House stood by his nomination. They literally stood, and then they accused his critics and the media trying to hurt his judicial nominees. Y'all, that was a Republican from Louisiana, Senator Kennedy, who was questioning him. So I just need y'all to understand that this is like Dumbo meets a rock meets one of the stars of Clueless, all roll into one. That's this administration.
But I mean, this administration is full of mediocre men like him, right? And mediocre.
That's not even mediocre. I mean, matter of fact, that's an insult to mediocre people.
Mediocre people do a lot of things, and I'm telling you,
right, it's just
that's beyond mediocre.
I mean, it's beyond mediocre because he knew where he was going, and he knew he would get questions. And I would be surprised that nobody shared with him in advance that he would be asked some of these things. So the fact that he hadn't prepared just lets you know how arrogant they are in their.
But he's another.
But they get breaks all the time.
This guy was going to be a lifetime federal judge. Lifetime.
And they're doing, and you notice, I don't know what the age of the gentleman was, but they're all in their late 40s, early 50s.
No, some mid-30s.
Well, that's the point. They're going to be there for half a century.
Exactly.
And Julianne, and this is not, I mean, if people understood what they're doing in the USDA, and the food program, the SNAP program, what they're doing to the environment, what they're doing in wiping out all sorts of civil rights regulations. I mean, they are inflicting massive damage on this country. We're not even talking about just the major stuff. We're talking about literally, that federal bureaucracy. And that's why when Mellick is on this show, I cannot fathom anybody, especially anybody black, literally saying they would vote for this idiot.
First of all, when we talked about China earlier.
Final comment, go ahead.
Bloomberg says the tariffs will cost the average family $800. With the food programs, the SNAP restrictions they just put out there, 3 million more families will be food insecure. We can go down the list. This is a war on poor people. This is a war on black people. This is a war on the American people. But there's some white people who would rather starve and be white than have good sense and vote for somebody who will rule in their economic interests. I'm so glad you played that clip. We talked about incompetent men. The one that irks me the most of all is that ignorant DeVos. I call her Betsy Devoid, as in devoid of good sense, because she never just put.
But she makes him look like a Rhodes Scholar.
You're right. That's what I mean.
That's how, again, dumb. So
it's like they have the idiots convention. That literally, they have the idiots convention.
All I'm saying, y'all, if you know of somebody who actually says they're voting for Trump, you should say, I'm going to commit you. I'm going to commit you to to an observation period because you're absolutely crazy. All right, y'all. All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. All right, folks, you heard me talk a lot about marijuanastock.org. Why? Because I want to keep you informed of investment opportunities that make sense. We've all watched the growth of the cannabis industry. A recent report by New Frontier Data estimates the global cannabis market at more than $340 billion. Now, we know that marijuana legalization is sweeping across the country, state by state. We also know that marijuana has a good cousin, the hemp plant, with a much higher concentration of CBD. That means hemp gives you all the medical benefits of marijuana without getting you high. Now, until recently, hemp farming was practically illegal in the U.S. and heavily regulated by the DEA. However, the 2018 Farm Bill changed all of that, making it legal to grow hemp CBD in the U.S. and thus creating one of the largest commodities worldwide. What do they need? Land to grow all of the plants. And that's where our friends at 420 Real Estate come in. Their business model is real simple. They buy land that supports hemp CBD grow operations and lease it to licensed, high-paying tenants. That's right, they are hemp CBD landlords, and you can get in on the action. My friends at 420 Real Estate decided to do something special for the Roland Martin Unfiltered family. Originally, the minimum investment was $500. Now you can invest in this crowdfunding campaign for as little as $200. That's right, $200 up to $10,000. Again, this is a $340 billion industry that is still growing. You can participate with as little as $200. For more information or to invest, go to marijuanastock.org. That's marijuanastock.org. Be sure to get in the game and do it now. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video.